Common sense for the American people. You're getting it from Salem. It's the Scott Jennings Show. We're broadcasting live today from Little Rock, Arkansas, and we are in the state capitol, and we are in the governor's office as the guests of my next guest, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, one of the greatest governors in America. And she joins us live here on the Scott Jennings Show. First of all, thank you for the hospitality, and thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. We're so glad that you're in Arkansas, and I wish we were welcoming you with a little bit better weather, but we're really excited that you're here and excited for the message that you're going to bring to the people of Arkansas, and just such a big fan and supporter of yours, and so really glad that you're in our state.
Well, you're very nice to say that. I'm very honored to be here, and I'm going to stop by the Right to Life dinner tonight here in Little Rock, and look forward to seeing conservatives and people who believe in the inherent value of every human life this evening. It was an honor to get invited to do that. You referenced the weather, Governor. I want to start there. Arkansas is going to get some snow and some ice. You're obviously in charge of emergency management here and preparing for something like this. What's it like being a governor when you know you're going to get hit with what some people are saying is a once-in-a-generation storm?
Well, right now we're kind of in the wait-and-see phase and really trying to make sure that we have resources in as many places around the state as possible, in constant communication with our Entergy and our co-op electric providers, trying to make sure that as much as we can, we prevent people from losing power, and that we are able, if people do, we can get it back on quickly, clearing roadways, and so working closely with the transportation department. We have a website called helparkansas.com, so we try to make it as easy for people as possible, give them one location to find out about road closures, where they can get assistance if needed, warming shelters, things like that, all in one stop. So we're trying to kind of put all the pieces together and hope it's not quite as bad as they say it is. That's my official capacity. In my mom capacity, I'm like everybody else. I was ordering gloves and snow boots because nothing we had last year fits this year, and seeing what could get delivered to our house in a 24-hour time span. And so our kids are hoping for a lot more snow. As governor, I'd like it to just blow right past our state and keep on going. But we have amazing crews through state police, through our National Guard, through our emergency management department that are all already on call and positioning in every part of Arkansas so that we're as prepared as possible to help people in need.
Now, I guess this will be the most significant weather event you've probably faced. You don't normally get this kind of winter weather here. Tornadoes you get and things of that nature, but as you start to prepare for it, give us an idea of what goes on. You're convening people from across your cabinet. You're convening the emergency services folks. Are you all also talking to governors in other states who are in the impacted zone here? Because obviously when the power goes out, it just doesn't go out in Arkansas. It goes out in a lot of states on something like this.
Yeah, thankfully we have a diversified power grid, and so I feel very confident in our teams, and hopefully we don't have significant outages. But there is a lot of coordination. If by chance we get missed and our neighbors in Texas or Tennessee or Missouri get hit, we want to be able to help provide resources and teams to get on the ground, and vice versa. We're also very thankful that we have a secretary at the Department of Homeland Security, Secretary Kristi Noem, led a call this morning with governors across the country just to make sure we're all in coordination and letting other states know what resources we have, what things we may need, and trying to be as prepared on the front end as we can be. That we don't get to control Mother Nature, and so there's only so many things you can do on the front end, and one of our biggest things will be just making sure people get what they need as quickly as possible. And so there will be continued coordination. We do a daily call that started earlier this week in preparation, making sure all of the various teams and components are in constant communication and continue to provide service.
So I want to get into this call with Secretary Noem. So this is the federal government, Homeland Security, coordinating with governors. Are you satisfied with, happy with the level of coordination you're getting it getting from federal officials as everybody prepares for the weather here?
Yeah, they've been excellent. We've had a great relationship with the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA, and they've been very responsive. It helps when we have a president, too, who takes our calls, and a secretary who does as well, and have been, unfortunately, Arkansas was hit with really bad tornadoes last year, some devastating storms that swept through our state, and we've been able to work in close coordination with the federal government to provide assistance for those communities that were impacted significantly last year.
I want to shift away from the weather, but I want to stay on the topic of coordination and cooperation with the federal government, and I want to talk more about ICE, not ice storm, but ICE, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. I want your opinion. You're a governor. You're cooperating with, and local officials here in Arkansas are cooperating with the federal government when it comes to immigration enforcement. In Minnesota and in Minneapolis, that cooperation does not exist. In fact, it's in some ways an open state of rebellion up there against federal law enforcement. Can you tell us what it looks like in a state where you have cooperation between law enforcement agencies? There's no chaos here in Arkansas when it comes to enforcing federal law. Take us inside this cooperation and how it leads to harmony, really, on the ground for the people of your state.
Look, we want law and order. I think it is very simple, and frankly, it's something every governor should want. Why you would push back on that is beyond my comprehension. And so we want to work closely with federal law enforcement. We've been able to have great level of cooperation here in the state of Arkansas. Our goal has been to look for and help identify violent offenders and make that our priority, and that's where we've spent our time and had our law enforcement spend our time. And we've also assisted in other areas when we can help provide law and order, like we are in Washington, D.C. We have about 100 members of the Arkansas National Guard that are on the ground in D.C. And are preparing for an additional 90-day extension. Every single member that is there on the ground now volunteered to be there, and they've asked to stay because they see the importance of their mission. They see the difference that they're making, and that's what we want to be part of, is bringing law and order, removing the chaos. We've been able to do that in Washington. We want to continue to do that here in the state. We were able to help on the border as well when that was needed. Governor Greg Abbott called on other Republican governors to send National Guard troops to the border because back at that time we had a president in President Biden who was not helping secure the border, and so it fell on governors to step up, and Governor Abbott did a great job of helping coordinate and bring a lot of Republican governors together to put troops on the border and really do, frankly, the job that the federal government should have been doing. Now there's a totally different mindset because we have a president who's actually leading and doing the job of the federal government.
The border is closed. We've had nary border crossing for the last 8 months. All the focus is really now on internal enforcement. And so here in Arkansas, I haven't heard one story about any sort of chaotic situation. I've not heard any stories about ICE agents clashing with local people. I've not seen any. I'm looking out the window. I don't see any rioting going on outside. I haven't heard of any churches being invaded. I mean, as it relates to what's going on here in your state and the reports you get on this every day, are you satisfied that ICE, CBP, all of the federal law enforcement agencies at play are acting professionally, doing their job, doing it efficiently? I assume some illegal aliens have been taken away from Arkansas. From what you've seen, are these people doing their job and doing it in a professional and lawful manner?
From everything that we've seen here in the state of Arkansas, yes, and that's why we want to continue that level of cooperation. At the end of the day, we have laws for a reason. We want to enforce them. We want people to follow them, and we're glad to be able to partner and have multi-agency coordination. I'm not saying there will never be chaos in Arkansas, but from what we've seen so far, we've been pleased with the level of professionalism and the ability to coordinate across, again, multiple agencies.
That's Sarah Sanders. She is the governor of Arkansas, and we're in her office today broadcasting this show. Thanks for the hospitality. Let me shift gears to education. ALEC, the organization, just released its new education freedom rankings. Arkansas came in third, so you're right near the top of the list. Sadly, where I live in Kentucky, I think we were 48th. Not as good. The difference is we got a Democrat governor there. We got a Republican governor here. What did you do here as a policy matter in Arkansas to create this level of education freedom for the people of your state?
You know, this has been the biggest priority that I had coming into office, was to really transform education in our state. Just a few years ago, Arkansas would have been right there fighting Kentucky for the bottom of the pack. And frankly, that's why I ran, because I was tired of seeing Arkansas be 48th and 49th and 50th in so many key critical areas, specifically on education. And so we really wanted to flip the system on its head, and that's what we did through a 150-page piece of legislation. We like to say we were one big beautiful bill before that was a thing, and we didn't just tinker around the edges. We did everything from opening up universal school choice, and we did a phased-in approach where in year 3 it is now open to every single student in the state of Arkansas. But we didn't stop there. We didn't want that to be the only thing we were doing, because we knew there are a lot of different things that students need. It's not just about being able to go to a different school, but in the schools that they're in, how do we elevate the experience that they have? And one of the things that was really important was rewarding and recognizing our educators. And so we made the largest investment in public education in our state at the same time that we were opening up universal school choice. We gave every single teacher in the state a pay raise of at least $2,000. We raised our starting pay from being $36,000, which was at the very bottom. We were 49th in the country. Now we're in top 5, number 1 when you adjust for cost of living. And so to go from a starting pay of $36,000 to a starting pay of $50,000, that's a big deal in a state like Arkansas. It puts us on a competitive level with states like Texas and Florida and California, and that helps us recruit and retain a lot of our best educators. We also gave merit-based bonuses. And so last year we were able to award nearly 4,000 educators with up to $10,000 in bonuses. And we're one of only 2 states in the country that offers up to 12 weeks of paid maternity leave for teachers, which is a big deal when 70% of your teaching workforce in the state is female.
Right.
And so
you've taken care of the students and you've taken care of the teachers, and it's working.
And it's working. And so that's what we wanted to see. We knew that it couldn't just be a little bit, but we had to do a lot of big things if we wanted to see Arkansas move up. And we're really proud of the progress we've made.